the moment Joe Rogan finds out his guest is an idiot.
Some people spend years painstakingly creating their image and building a great reputation. They might be at the top of their field or expect to nail it from start to finish. Then they go on Joe Rogan and ruin everything in 3 hours, sometimes within minutes.
Okay, what did Neil deGrasse Tyson do? Honestly, that is the first. This podcast is the first Joe Rogan podcast I ever saw. The Neil deGrasse Tyson episode is the first one I ever saw. It helped me see kind of how much Neil deGrasse Tyson knows in a way, because I had no idea about the Christopher Columbus, the whole Christopher Columbus being a dick. I had no idea about that. That should be in the history books, people. I genuinely don't know how it's not.
Thing in 3 hours, sometimes within minutes. As many of you may have noticed by now, lots of guests who go on Joe Rogan can either be compromised frauds or just have no idea what they're talking about.
3 hours?
Fall apart when
oh no, these podcasts go for a while. Actually, I think 3 hours is the longest. The shortest, yeah, actually, I think the longest they'll go to is 3 hours. Everything else is pretty short. It's like an hour or something.
Evaporates under basic follow-up questions. Opinions tolerated in their bubble are torn apart by the general public. There's a ton of ways people get exposed on Joe Rogan, but this first example of someone destroying their reputation on the Joe Rogan Experience doesn't really quite fit into any of those categories. It's actually a whole lot more shocking. This is Josh Dubbin, a civil rights attorney who gets wrongfully convicted people out of prison. A seemingly great thing to do. He opens up with an unusual disclaimer that sets the tone for what's to come.
Typically, the person sitting to my right is someone that was wrongfully convicted. So I don't want to bury the headline. Sheldon is guilty.
Sheldon?
Okay. Poor dude. This man straight up came onto Joe Rogan and just decided to expose his client like that. Before I continue, ese cabrón lo hizo.
Johnson was in prison for 25 years, charged with attempted murder and robbery. But it wasn't as simple as it seemed.
Murder and robbery.
That far eclipses a sentence that would be commonly doled out for murder or manslaughter. For a crime in which the victim received 2 stitches.
And you were in for 25 years and 5 months.
This dude, okay, that makes more sense. Okay, that makes way more sense. Okay, so they straight up came on to Joe Rogan and was like, hey, hold up, technically, hey, lo hizo él fue, but he's different. Was that seriously the whole podcast? No way. Do you know anything about it? Alright, I see how it is.
For 2 stitches. Jesus.
You can feel the injustice, and Joe is clearly astonished, getting the whole story off to a really gripping start. He then talks about a high-ranking Bloods member who supposedly transformed in prison.
I'm also a product of intergenerational incarceration. My father was incarcerated. He did about 15 years. My grandfather was incarcerated. My great-grandfather was a slave. And, and I'm gonna be honest, this is where I learned how to become a criminal, because prior to that, I was just a kid.
Then he begins to talk about how he transformed every aspect of his life for the better.
Okay, let's hear it.
It was at that moment where I really said I have to change my life. I just can't do this. I had a wife, I had family still, my son was growing up. He was hearing stories about...
So he found out that he had responsibilities and then decided to grow up, which, I mean, fair enough, right? The way I see it, and it's came from 2 people when it comes to, like, it's either your dreams or you start a family. Every single time I've talked to somebody when it comes to, like, oh, like, I could have, but I started family. It's either your family. I feel like it's either you will either do anything it takes to accomplish your dreams, or you will have so much responsibilities that you have no choice but to, do anything it takes to take care of it. Does that make sense? So he just barely saw that he has responsibilities and things to take care of, and that he needs to stay alive for, and just. But you guys are finna see how messed up this is. Watch. I know exactly what episode this is.
And immediately started working with an at-risk youth at Queen's Defenders. Josh calls him a miracle.
I was just blown away by the level of accomplishment and the mental wherewithal that he possessed to accomplish what he did while incarcerated. Look at this beautiful mind and how he articulates himself and educated himself. And you want to tell me that this couldn't have happened earlier?
Joe and everyone watching are moved.
Uh-huh.
This is what criminal justice reform is supposed to look like. Real second chances.
Yep.
Josh has built his reputation on cases like this, proving the system can work if you give people a chance.
There's one bad
The episode
apple.
aired on
You
February
can't
1st,
blame una
2024,
manzana podrida.
March 4th,
Just one.
2024.
You
1
can't.
month later, and neighbors in a Bronx apartment building heard gunshots. Then someone screaming, "Please don't, I have a family," followed by 2 more shots. Police arrived to find a dismembered torso in the apartment with no head or arms. The victim
Damn.
was Colin Small, 44 years old. New Year's resolutions fail for one reason. We try to remove
Out of all the
habits
moments to play an ad, actually, it's a very good moment to play an ad. Not for me. I have no sponsorships whatsoever, so hey.
day in another, hauling a large blue bin that never came back out. Shot apartment offer closes for good. Surveillance footage showed a man coming and going from the apartment over several days, wearing different disguises each time. A blonde wig in one shot, carrying cleaning supplies in another, hauling a large blue bin that never came back out. The building superintendent identified him driving the victim's blue Audi. That man was Sheldon Johnson. In his freezer, they found Colin Small's head, arms, and legs.
Damn.
Sheldon Johnson was charged with murder, manslaughter, criminal possession of a weapon, and concealment of a human corpse. That was when the internet exploded. Fans flooded the YouTube comments on episode 2096, some demanding that Joe delete this, others pointing out red flags they'd noticed. For Josh, well, obviously his entire reputation
Yeah, I was gonna
is built
say,
on
what
being
happened?
the guy who can spot genuine rehabilitation. Now, this got way more intense when Josh appeared again on episode 2228, which was a big surprise.
No,
You'd think he just
no,
wanted
why
to
would you
bury this
appear
completely
again?
and forget it ever happened. Rogan obviously contextualizes the discussion given what happened.
The last case that we talked about, we had a very unfortunate incident happen after the podcast. About a month
Literally
later.
after.
Yeah.
The gentleman beheaded somebody.
Allegedly, yes.
Allegedly,
He didn't do that. Other than
buddy, get allegedly. If we get Joma on the case, he's set free.
I'm as shocked over it now as I was in the moment. I called him a miracle on this show, and
Yeah.
and the media shoved that straight up my ass. I mean,
of course.
my
Anywho.
first, this didn't happen to me. A lot of people say I'm so sorry, but some people have said other things that weren't very nice. My first thought was, I had 2 thoughts, was that poor guy that got killed, and then
What'd he do?
I think my second and
What do
third
you do to
thought
cause a man to
in
go
tandem
insane
was,
like that?
This tore down 50 years of work that a lot of people have fought really hard for and really need.
Now, this is obviously a really serious situation. One of the top comments says it all. Josh obfuscating responsibility for letting a murderer out of prison is utterly infuriating. I'm 12 minutes in and listening to him dance around actually taking responsibility in his role in that man's murder. And
Responsibility? What? Okay, hold up. Yes, he set the man free, right? He wasn't expecting him to go out and fucking, I hope you get the visual, but I mean, in my opinion, he holds no responsibility. He said he gave a man a fishing rod expecting him to fish. He decided to whip people with it.
another, this dude should be in jail for allowing it to happen.
No.
The problem is some of Josh's justifications really just suck.
What I'm guilty of is giving a guy a second chance.
Thank-
Why am I reluctant to say
you know.
this? I can't apologize for giving someone a second chance and then, they squander it. All I can do is say, what could I have done better? I mean, I have a deep understanding, I think, of what incarceration means. I mean, I read this book.
So he said that reading a book
You lost
gives
me
him
on the
an
book.
understanding of people in prison, but he
You were
can't
doing
even
well until you
remember
mentioned the
name of
book,
it.
dog.
Joe is actually sympathetic because he says Josh has done some genuinely good work before, but history doesn't remember this episode well for obvious reasons. But then there's other more famous people.
Okay, what
like Neil
happened?
deGrasse
This was my
Tyson
first
that
Joe Rogan
expose
episode.
A whole lot about their
I actually like this
personality.
episode
Neil
too.
deGrasse Tyson's episodes came with
Oh no, never mind. Hold up. Mine was 1,159.
high expectations
believe.
since he's one of the most
Whichever one he talked about Christopher Columbus on.
popular
That's the
scientists
one.
around. When he first became such a big name, he was highly respected. But over time, he slowly chipped away at his reputation piece by piece, and his Joe Rogan appearances are partly to blame. Hopes were high, but he turned out to be the guy who would steamroll every conversation to make sure you understand he's the smartest person in the room. And this often strays
What,
into
he just
being
kept
straight up
interrupting,
stuck
or?
up and rude. Check out these moments when he cuts straight in and contradicts Joe at every opportunity.
The global warming thing is very much connected to a certain type of ideology. A certain type of person who thinks of themselves
It doesn't
as
matter
a
to me.
no-nonsense person.
What I'm saying, yes, it does matter, because when ice melts, it takes up lower volume than it was when it became ice.
Just look at all the times Joe's face changes when he gets interrupted all the time. You wouldn't want to escalate the situation into a shouting match, so what else do you do than sit and suffer? But it just goes on and on. Constant interruptions that make the conversation fragmented and difficult to listen to. And he also turned out to be overly smug and wouldn't listen to opposing views, even when he did let Joe speak.
Whatever is your concept,
So he like,
the
okay.
discoveries of astrophysicists bring you closer to it.
I get your perspective.
Uh-huh.
Let me be the opposing view. They feel...
No, I'm not trying to...
There's also a really
Okay,
bizarre moment.
so he's basically saying, I'm not trying to argue with you, these are the facts. Simple as that. Okay, not even bothering trying to figure out a second opinion. Listen to it, these are the facts, I've studied my life, this is it. Why would you invite this man so many times if you didn't... I mean, the views, low-key, the ROI is just way more worth it, isn't it? The ROI of Neil deGrasse Tyson must have been worth
The studio
it.
has fake bricks and gets up out of his seat to check.
Jesus Christ, he thinks we got fake bricks. Who do you think we are?
I thought that was fake brick.
Thought I was a liar. How weird.
In another episode, Joe brings up the Navy's Tic Tac UFO, a classic piece of UFO footage watching an object drop from 80,000 feet to sea level in less than a second.
It went from, they tracked it going from 80,000 feet above sea level to
Okay.
50 in less than a second. They have no idea how it moved. There's no visible propulsion system. It was blocking their radar. It was actively blocking tracking.
This is what their sensors told them.
Exactly.
Just be clear about that.
And then
you're stating information as though it is facts.
I'm stating information as Commander
I
Favorite
don't care.
related.
That doesn't matter. He's human,
Right.
and we're all human here.
Yes.
That's a very important distinction. Your first question then, tell me about the sensors.
Yeah.
Okay, are they double checked? Are they?
They actually saw with their eyes too. This is something that they actually got.
You can't see something at 80,000 feet.
No, the actual visual on the craft.
Okay.
They didn't see it at 80,000 feet, but this craft, it's not just something that was tracked with equipment.
Got it, but they didn't see it at 80,000 feet.
Right.
That's my point. So
They're just bickering over details. The annoying thing is that Neil knows what Joe's trying to say but keeps berating him on the details. This type of thing goes on for 3 hours.
Damn.
To be fair, Neil deGrasse Tyson's episodes polarize people, especially now that he's done a few. Some enjoy them while others hate them. The more he's done, the more it seems Joe starts to adapt and riff off their arguments. But either way, because of these appearances, he will never get rid of this reputation for narcissistically interrupting and looking smug with his wordy explanations that don't make as much sense as
Can
he
you
thinks
blame
they
him though?
do.
I mean, this
But if
man
there
literally
were competition-
studied so much to the point where all he can do is just be like, no, you're gonna accept everything I've studied because it's my life's work. Fair enough, but I mean, he's got to think of something. You know what I mean? This dude is pissing me off. I was gonna say, I only found out about Neil deGrasse Tyson because of all the cartoon appearances that he would make from here and there. You know what I mean? Especially, I think it was the new Ice Age. He was what, Neil the Buck Weaselton or something like that? Neil the Buck Weasel.
For the worst guest appearance in Joe Rogan Experience history, the comedian Iliza Shlesinger is way up there. She's always top
Never
of the
heard of her.
list for the cringiest guest because there's nothing worse you can do as a comedian than not be funny. Episode 1882 clocks in at just 2 hours, which is unusually short for the Joe Rogan Experience. Almost as if he
Really?
cuts it off, as it doesn't take long before jokes turn to cringe-worthy moments. You see, Joe mentions having Bernie Sanders on the podcast. Her response?
But I had him on my podcast, and he was very sincere.
Okay, cool. I've
I
had my
think-
mom on my podcast. You want to flex? I'm just saying.
You can
What
see
are
his
you talking
unimpressed
about,
facial
dude?
expressions across the whole episode. She also seems totally out of touch despite dishing out some big opinions on politics. Like how she didn't know who Tulsi Gabbard was.
I don't know
The
who that
Nicole
is.
women bitches voted probably for her in the get-go.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard's not. I think Tulsi Gabbard's amazing.
I don't even know who that is.
You know who she is? No? Congresswoman from Hawaii, ran for president in 2020.
And this was
So she's talking
2024,
about
by the
politics,
way.
but
So
doesn't
she'd
know about-
actually run for
okay, I
president
see.
there. and is also currently the United States Director
Well, I mean,
of
that's
National
everybody, though. We just-
Intelligence. And to make that impression worse, she then told a really awkward story about Sweden that clearly left Joe wide-eyed.
I think I'm too programmed as an American to have everything when I need it and pay for the things that I need. Like, my husband got really sick, and
You go to
we
the
had
hospital.
emergency room
Yeah.
in Sweden, and they just left him there in a room for like 5 hours. And part of me was like, you're doing this because he's American. But then I was like, can we call a doctor? I'll pay for a doctor, as you would if you were sick. You'd have someone come.
Yeah.
This is not. We do not do this. And I'm like,
Socialized medicine.
but someone. I was like, what if a celebrity comes here and they need something? And
Celebrity?
they're like,
Who?
"Okay, John,
Who?
please." And he just waited.
Joe asks if that was actually a question she asked, that being a celebrity will get you immediate healthcare in Sweden.
I'm
So
like,
that was a question you asked? If a celebrity came?
The episode just keeps on spiraling. Her jokes completely bomb time and time again.
not
right.
that I'm at Beyonce's level, but here I am as an American. I'm like, I'm willing to pay for something extra.
So now, as an American, and you have more money, take care of me. Yeah, no, she did not do well for herself on this podcast, did she?
Because he's sick, I'm pregnant, so I can't catch what he has. How can we speed this up? I have a show. And they were like, he can just rot in this box.
The episode just keeps on spiraling. Her jokes completely bomb time and time again. She also says she claimed she invented driving comedy during COVID. Joe shut that down, and it made for one of the show's most awkward moments.
He's also
Who
the
made
first
it?
guy to figure out how to do drive-in movie shows while we were all like trying to figure out what to do with the pandemic and do shows. He was
Untrue.
the first guy.
Nope, we did them at the same time.
What do you mean untrue?
We did the drive-in tours
Bert
at the same
literally
time.
came up with the idea, he said.
No.
You don't think he did?
I don't know. It could have been like independent, but I definitely did. We did them around the same time.
Around the same time.
I didn't get the idea from him.
Okay, I'm
but
not
that doesn't
saying
take it
you
away
did.
from him.
Maybe you got the same idea independently
That's what I
after he
said.
did it.
I don't think it was after.
I think he was the first guy.
Okay. Okay.
He says he was the first guy. Everybody else agrees.
That's okay.
She just comes across so egotistical and smug in most of this, distancing herself from serious conversation while making sure she sounds like the best around. But at least she has the excuse of just not being funny. Bari Weiss walked in as a New York Times staff editor, ready to explain journalistic standards to everyone, then smeared a sitting congresswoman using a word she had to Google mid-conversation because she didn't
Toadies?
even know what it meant. But this one actually started well. Weiss is on fire.
What the hell's a toady?
because
A person who flatters or defers. Wait, what? A person who flatters or defers to others for self-serving reasons. The hell is that word? I'm about to look up what that word even means right there. Hold up. Y'all can't even see that. What is that word? Psychophant, right? Anywho.
She didn't even know what it meant. But this one actually started well. Weiss is on fire talking about how journalists screwed up.
Your initial reaction to something is not the truth.
Right.
It's your emotional reaction.
Yes.
And anyone who calls themselves a journalist, like your job is to figure out
On fire talking about how journalists screwed up.
your initial reaction to something is not the truth.
Right.
It's your emotional reaction. And
Yeah.
anyone who calls themselves a journalist, like your job is to figure out the facts of the case, not to make this into a kind of identitarian morality play.
Joe's nodding along, this is good stuff. Then he asks about 2020 candidates. They're going through names and it comes to Tulsi Gabbard when this happens.
She had.
No, she's an Assad toady.
What does that mean?
She is
What's a toady?
I think that I used that word correctly. Jamie, can you check what toady means?
Like towing the line? Is that what it means? Definition of toadies: a person who
sycophant, yeah.
flatters or defers to others
I
for
kinda used it right.
self-serving reasons.
A sycophant.
So she's an Assad sycophant. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's known about her.
Like, what did she say that?
Oh, we have to look.
qualifies
I
her?
don't remember.
Oh,
the
you
details
definitely
of
just
her.
saw it on
Say
a
that before we
Insta post or
say that
something,
about
and
her.
you're
It
like,
was
oh, I
really
agree,
about
huh?
Well, I have read
And you're
it.
like, oh, that's
I
a
just-
big
oh,
word.
oh,
I can't wait to use it on the
New
Joe
York
Rogan
Times editor
podcast.
just called a congresswoman a word she didn't know the meaning of, and she couldn't remember why, and only started fact-checking when Joe made her. All live on the biggest podcast in the world. For most people, you'd say fair enough, whatever. But it's the sequence she just warned against. Inflammatory label first, facts never, only Google when cornered. And then she immediately pivots to change the subject.
But doesn't she also? Did she ever apologize for believing in conversion therapy?
I didn't even know she believed in conversion therapy.
Am I crazy?
Is that real?
I'm almost positive this is real.
So let's recap. This is minutes after explaining exactly what's wrong with journalists reacting emotionally, how they deploy labels before checking facts. Then she floors herself by throwing around terms.
Damn, in
and
30
facts
minutes
that
you put on
isn't
jazz,
sure
she was
about
cold.
And just read one day on the internet.
Stereotypical,
and that isn't the
but
only time a quick Google search destroyed someone's argument on the Joe Rogan Experience. Robert Epstein was actually similar to Weiss, having been
Really?
the editor of the major publication Psychology Today. He's a
Adolescence
very
biology,
well-respected
big.
psychologist
Okay.
himself with a PhD from Harvard, and he opens up with perhaps the strangest
quoted by
first words in
Harvard.
the podcast's history.
I need to have a meltdown.
Joe then looks confused.
You want to have a personal meltdown?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
He's decided Joe Rogan's
Oh, Joe.
podcast is where he's
Joe
going
immediately got nervous. Did y'all see the hands? Look at Joe's hands right here.
podcast history.
I need to have a meltdown.
Joe then looks
Look at Joe's hands.
You want to have a
Look at his hands. As soon as he hears, look.
personal meltdown?
Yes.
Fidget, fidget,
Okay,
fidget,
go ahead.
fidget, fidget. Boom. Okay. He is nervous about what he might say because this is either live or it's either going to get good.
He's decided Joe Rogan's podcast is where he's going to have his pre-planned breakdown. But he actually kept calm as he talked about some really serious
Good ass editing. My days. You had me thinking he was about to say something.
of his pre-planned breakdown. But he actually
And then he
kept
just-
calm as he talked about some really serious stuff like 80-hour work weeks, his wife dying in a car accident, and being professionally destroyed.
He did vent. He did literally that. He did vent. Like he technically broke down his emotional barriers. He wasn't
His
lying.
research got caught in political crossfire. That's all fair enough. Then he makes a claim that he probably shouldn't have. As he says, Google tried to shut down Proton Mail by suppressing it in the search results. So Joe decides to test
Search
this
it up.
live.
So
And it's gonna
let's
show
pull
up, ain't it?
Google real quick and put it up on the screen.
It's gonna show up, ain't it?
And okay, you already Googled it. Just let me see. Okay, right away it shows Proton Mail, and then below that it shows Proton account, sign in. You use the Proton VPN. So how is it suppressing? This is not suppressing at all.
Okay, now this is where my staff has warned me, don't be condescending to Joe Rogan.
How is it condescending if I'm just asking you a question? You could just give me an answer.
Rob then says he's about to go back into meltdown mode. He claims Google can manipulate results with surgical precision. It shows Proton Mail to anyone listening to Joe's podcast and suppresses it.
Really? All right, bet. Hold up. I'm about to. Do I have to look up Proton VPN or can they just be Proton? You know what? Why am I? We got technology at hand, people. Hold up.
For every
Hold up. There we go. Okay, we finna find out today. Let's see. Proton. I didn't even spell it right and it showed up. My word. Oh, hold on. I forgot. I listened to Joe Rogan. So it's not gonna show up. My bad. He's right. He's right. He caught me lacking. He caught me lacking.
everyone else. So if Proton Mail shows up, Google manipulated results because they knew you were watching. If it doesn't, then that proves suppression.
So you think that Jamie's account is curated to not hide Proton Mail?
Well, of course it's curated.
Well, technically, this is not my account.
Joe tries asking the audience to test it. Epstein's response?
You are going to get clean results because they know every single viewer, listener that you have. They can turn bias on and off like flipping a light switch.
Okay, so he does actually say a lot of interesting stuff about big tech's power in the episode, and the core of his argument isn't wrong. Even so, the pre-planned meltdown and Proton Mail incident don't exactly cover a psychology professor in glory. What's much worse is the next guest, Brian Dunning, who gets exposed by Rogan without even having a strong case for his claims. It's one of the few episodes
Who's
that got
Brian
taken
Dunning?
down because what happened afterward made his claims look even more absurd than they did live. Brian built his entire career on one premise: demand.
This guy's good. I'm about to DM him for like script writing. That man answered my question immediately. Who is Brian Dunning? He's like, you know what? I was like, buddy, if you were patient, I would have told you. Okay.
Than they did live. Brian built his entire career on one premise: demand evidence. He
Okay.
hosted the podcast Skeptoid, debunking pseudoscience and conspiracy theories. He had books, TED Talks, the works, the professional skeptic who won't let sloppy claims slide. Then he came on Joe Rogan and admitted he'd published a hit piece on Joe without keeping any sources.
I read about myself, and I was shocked to learn that I believe that 911 was created by the government. I didn't know that I believed that.
I don't think you've ever said that.
I've never said that. That one is poorly researched. I've absolutely never said that I think that the government engineered 9/11.
This was an episode I did in 2008, which was, I don't know, 5-6 years ago now. And So before coming here today, I wanted to make sure and get all my sources for all of these. And unfortunately, back in 2008, I was not yet keeping very good records and saving my notes. So for the things that I have listed here, unfortunately, I can't give you the source for any one of them. But any one of them you want to tell me is not true, I will happily retract it.
A professional skeptic whose entire brand is demanding rigorous sourcing from everyone else published an attack list without keeping records of where he got his information. So Joe makes him read it.
Comedian Joe Rogan does what he can to promote virtually any conspiracy theory that he stumbles onto, apparently accepting them all uncritically with a wholesale embrace.
Okay.
Now, I know you would disagree with that now.
Of course I would.
Okay. And I want to give you that chance.
Is he wrong though? Technically, is the man wrong? Obviously, if you tell Joe Rogan the Earth is flat, it's not. You know what I mean? He's not gonna be, you know, dancing and prancing about it. But if you tell him, look, because didn't he get on a podcast with a dude who literally worked at Area 51 or whatever, and he's like, no, we used to be able to see the spaceships, but now they have that area closed off. And then Joe Rogan's like, damn, like, yeah. So I mean, I think like he objectively knows when to listen to people and when to not. Earth is flat, I mean, come on, at this point, it's just, but there's aliens, I mean, fair enough on that one.
Let me continue. He believes the Apollo astronauts did not land on the moon. He believes the U.S. government was behind the 9/11 terror attacks.
So far, I mean, it's I've yet to hear.
He believes the Oliver Stone version of the Kennedy assassination.
The hell is the Oliver Stone version of the Kennedy? I'm not leaving y'all out of this. You guys are getting buried with me. Okay. What was the name? What? Oliver what? Oliver? Is it Oliver Stone theory? Oliver Stone Central Theory, popularized 19 film. His 1991 JFK and Mandan 2025 is destination was a coup d'etat involving a high-level conspiracy. The fuck is a coup d'etat? They got me looking up any. Okay, what is a coup d'etat at this point? A coup d'etat is a sudden, often illegal seizure of government power, typical military officers in a revolution with involves mass uprising. A coup is a top-down power shift that replaces key leaders, typically. Okay, so he argues that intelligence, the CIA, the military, industrial. Okay, I've yet to hear a lie.
He believes the Apollo astronauts did not land on the moon.
Okay.
He believes the U.S. government was behind the 9/11 terrorist attacks. He believes the Oliver Stone version of the Kennedy assassination.
Okay.
He believes aliens crashed at Roswell in 1947, and the
don't know
government is
enough
covering
about
it
that.
up. He thinks Men in Black from Project Blue Book stole his friend's camera,
No.
even though Project Blue Book ended over 38 years ago.
My friend was 10, he's 60, by the way. And they didn't steal his camera.
I want to hear that story, but
They took it when he was a little boy. He took a photo of something, who knows what it was. I never said it was Project Blue Book guys, or I told you what my friend, who's a flight surgeon, told me.
I wish to hell I had that reference for that. But let me just.
That's okay.
That's part of this.
Call Steve and get him on the phone. Steve Graham.
That'd be fun, actually. The worst part is that he promotes these ideas to the public at every interview opportunity, but gives himself the intellectual get-out-of-jail-free card of not needing any evidence by hiding behind the childish debate technique of saying, hey, I'm just the guy asking questions. God, this makes me sound like an asshole.
I was gonna say, dude, imagine having to read this and oh dang, and your whole shtick is about, you know, you getting the facts right, you being proper, and yet you're now on the biggest platform, and right now you're shaking your boots. But fair enough, though. I mean, he already said that, you know, I guess when he went to go look for his sources, I guess back in the day he didn't keep very track. Sorry. Dude, that completely derailed me. I'm good. I'm good.
Well, it's just factually inaccurate on so many different levels. I don't understand why you wrote it like that.
Later that year, 2014, Dunning.
Both Hunnigan and Dunnigan pleaded guilty to wire fraud. Hogan received a 5-month prison sentence. Dunning, the author of Rank,
pleaded guilty to wire fraud, a cookie stuffing scam on eBay that generated over $5 million in stolen.
How do you get 35 million on eBay? Like, buddy, I'm trying to get 35 million at this, like right there, that whole bin right there. That Funko Pop, there's an ET Funko Pop that I want gone. A Notorious B.I.G. Funko gold vinyl, whatever, gone. And Andre 3000 that I want, gone. A few books. But this man got 35,000. I don't know how the hell he did that, but I mean, how long in prison? A year and 4 months? They probably took everything away. You probably don't even get that 35 mil. I was gonna say, I mean, a year and 4 months for 35 million.
Affiliate commissions. So the professional skeptic who demanded evidence from everyone was running a fraud scheme the entire time. Speaking of being a fraud, this is Oscar-nominated actor Terrence Howard, who walked into that studio convinced that 1 × 1 = 2, having spent 4 decades building an alternative physics on his wild ideas. Terrence Howard described reaching out to Neil deGrasse Tyson about a 36-page breakthrough. Neil redlined the whole thing as being basically ludicrous in every way. So Terrence came to Joe. One of the things he opens with is how his first memory came when he was 6 months old in his mother's womb.
Huh? 6 months old in your mother's womb? Were you born young too? Like,
pretty much sets the tone for how crazy the whole conversation is about to be.
When you're dreaming and you're falling and you hit the bottom and you wake up.
Yeah.
That was my first memory, but I didn't wake up here. I was inside my mother's womb, and I was about maybe 6 months inside the womb.
Oh, okay.
Like, okay, don't forget I'm here. Okay. Don't forget.
1 × 1 = 2 is the core of this theory. It actually has a name. He named it after himself. It's called teriology.
I sent him over the 36-page thing that had the wave conjugations in it, but I started it off with 1 × 1 = 2. And he went in on my treatise, redlined everything. He attacked that I had talked about Walter Russell and Victor Schauberger and John Keeley and Tesla as the people that I looked up to. He attacked them.
I only knew Tesla. You lost me at every other person you mentioned.
Joe asks how he attacked them. Here's the explanation.
All right.
It said it's illogical where the square root of a number added to itself will equal more than that number squared. But that's what happens with the square root of 2. How is it that multiplication, if it means to make more and increase a number, how is 1 × 1 = 1 part of the multiplication table? Now, I understand that if you're seeing it one time.
Right.
Yeah, I really don't get this either. Apparently, he's been on this since 3rd grade.
Really?
It started in 3rd grade. I was arguing with my teacher.
He goes on to say he killed gravity.
We're about to kill gravity. We're about to kill their god, gravity, and they don't want that.
He also makes completely outlandish claims to back all of this up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Terrence Howard. Who? I don't know why in my head you're a rapper. So, actor. That's his wife. I don't need to know his wife. I just need to know him. Oh, he was on Patrick David? Okay, I didn't know that one. Let me see. What have you been on? Oh, you were on Empire. Never seen it. Iron Man, nice. Big Mama's House. Princess and the Frog. Okay. Yeah, no. Huh. This man's an actor. 1 × 1 = 1, I guess. 2. My bad.
Like how his systems are the best ever, the best in the country, even the world.
There's no government on this planet that has the technology that I have or can outdo what I have, because you can't outdo the fractal. But none of them have 97 patents. None of them have introduced a new form of flight with unlimited mid-air bonding. None of them have discovered 4 supersymmetrical systems.
Joe tries to engage. He likes talking about this kind of stuff usually, but you realize that no amount of good faith engagement is going to bridge the gap. Teriology has become a meme for the Dunning-Kruger effect, a phenomenon in which someone with low expertise tends to overestimate how much they know about a particular subject.
I think I might have that shit.
One of the top comments says what we're all thinking. When weed wants to get high, it smokes some Terrence Howard. The Joe Rogan podcast makes it clear that
there needs to be a fucking
you're certain you're right about is always a reliable
bud pack
way to
for
destroy
that.
Your reputation.
Terrence Howard
but there's
pack.
one guy who's
Light, get on it.
equally as the others, proving that you don't even need to be on the Joe Rogan Experience to be destroyed on the Joe Rogan Experience.
This guy who walks around everywhere with no shirt on, a big bushy beard, super jacked, and he's telling people that the way he gets that and eats raw liver
King,
just lifts like a maniac, and that's how he's so jacked.
Right.
But it's preposterous.
It's an encounter that turned into a years-long feud and even culminated in criminal charges for terror threats. I'm of course talking about the Liver King. The Liver King never appeared on the podcast, but Joe destroyed him anyway. Liver King tried to desperately get onto the podcast.
He was trying really hard to get on the podcast, and he's been trying really hard to get on now. He contacted a few friends of mine.
Joe refused, and it escalated until he was eventually arrested in Austin for making terroristic threats against Rogan. In one, shirtless, wearing an animal fur headdress, holding 2 gold
Liver King or
plated AR-15s. Another video, and then another video.
Guess what? You're
Nah, yeah, buddy, disimula un poco, you know what I mean? You gotta, out here giving evidence, like there's no tomorrow.
But Liver King isn't alone in shilling stupid diets and getting called out. It's practically a Joe Rogan Experience tradition at this point. Take Jordan Peterson's daughter, who appeared on the episode 1164,
what happened to her?
who claimed eating only beef cured her depression and autoimmune disorders.
Yes.
Okay, we've heard this all before about the carnivore
Yes,
diet,
yeah.
But what about claiming soy makes you hallucinate?
I turned around to look at my brother in the car, and his head was a kind of a demon. I know how this sounds, but he had like a demon head for about 1.5 seconds.
Joe asks,
"You ate soy and started tripping?"
Yeah, 2 days later.
Then there's the side effects of her all-meat diet, constant diarrhea. This raises some eyebrows about this diet and how good it actually is for you, as it isn't usually considered a good sign of health.
Diarrhea every time you ate meat. Just meat.
Just meat.
Jesus
and salt.
Christ.
If I have to choose between itching and arthritis or diarrhea, I'm going to choose the diarrhea.
At least she's honest about it, but it does get better. She describes
I actually tried her frozen steak technique. I'm gonna tell you right now, very good. All right, low key, medium rare, just as she promised. All right, so y'all can call her out all she wants, but she knows how to cook a steak in the air fryer. 9 minutes each side, I believe. 9 minutes each side at the highest temperature, or 360 or 360 to 350 or to 400.
accidentally drinking bourbon instead of vodka. It really seems like her revolutionary health protocol involves choosing between different forms of misery and having hallucinations from various vegetables. Ultimately, 3 hours is a long time to keep a story straight, and being open with your thoughts and views can quickly lead to unexpected outcomes when they don't sound as good in real life as they do in your head. Most of the episodes live forever on YouTube, and as Josh and Brian proved, future events can put a radically different spin on things. But also these podcasts show that there are also so many ways someone can destroy their own reputation. From being rude and egotistical to completely misjudging the audience's ability to see through you.
Just not even showing up on the podcast to begin with.
Dislikes and reputational damage that lives forever on the internet, all for us to enjoy. And thank you Fume for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check.
All right. I don't know why I was expecting a lot more out of the video, with all due respect, but that's why there's a Discord. If y'all want to send videos, make sure you send it to the reaction. Link in the description down below. Hope you enjoyed. Take care. God bless.